gave you some hope for what people are doing themselves. I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit, because as important as it is that we do everything we can, what we're basically doing is investing and standing in solidarity with people who are leading the charge. So maybe you could talk about your trip and your experiences.
Sure, thank you. And I want to say thank you for having me. It's really an honor to sit here with these luminaries and folks who get on the next panel. I feel a little bit like Forrest Gump. But, you know, and I can only speak from my, as you say, my empirical experience, but one of the things that, you know, really struck me was how much what I experienced traveling to Africa kind of belied the image that I had about it before I went. You know, I think we do a lot of messaging out of a good place about needing to assist in development and so on, by pointing to all the stuff that's wrong, all the problems that are happening, and indeed a lot of people are suffering. But it kind of alienates, I think, people on some level, and it means that people like me go there and expect to see, you know, a bunch of people sort of lying on the ground helplessly or with flies all over them. And you go there and it's this extraordinary, vibrant, spectacular continent with some of the most amazing people. And that kind of, you know, changed everything for me. And one of the things that made me think that we could probably do better to repurpose some of the messaging we do. We're trying to reach out to people and say, hey, get involved with this, because I think it's more effective to talk about the fact that what people are doing successfully, and how people are overcoming some of these obstacles, because I think that would give others, at least it gave me, an added urgency to be involved, because I saw, oh look, there are real solutions here, even in some of the direst places. You know, I was in South Sudan, for example. Some of my friends from South Sudan are here who were kind enough to host me and take me around. And in fact, at the SPLM political convention, was the last convention I went to, was there. This is a place where suffered from a terrible civil war for, you know, 20 plus years. 2 million people died. And when the war ended, and you know, part of that was the international community, and part of that was the South Sudanese, obviously. There was a country that had been, you know, was racked with poverty, largely abandoned, infrastructure destroyed, and you know, folks set about, and I don't mean to pander to them because this is their panel and invited me, but you know, groups like NDI, for example, are there doing workshops with citizens of South Sudan, having conversations about things like the Comprehensive Peace Agreement and the Aviv Water Protocol, and they let me sit in on some of those, and I was amazed by the depth of the political discourse that was going on there and the sophistication of it, because I certainly never saw it on American television, you know, or nor do I have it much in my personal life, and that, you know, that populace is then kind of informing the political convention, and as those folks are negotiating with the NCP and building their new government of unity, you know, you're seeing spectacular climb out of a terrible place, and that's just not something people know very much about, and there are a lot of those, but I won't go.
Yeah, please, Nancy.
I was thinking the same thing, that the glass is half full. And what's interesting is, if we go back to 1989, there were 4 democracies in sub-Saharan Africa. Today there are 18 democracies in sub-Saharan Africa. In the last 10 years, those democracies have grown 2 or 3 times faster than, in terms of economic growth, than the U.S. economy. And as Obi knows, and Jim Wolfenson will be on the next panel from the World, formerly from the World Bank, growth doesn't answer all your problems, but it's absolutely necessary. The other thing that's very interesting